first of all, we're human beings,
Right.
you know, and then we can be whoever we are. But, you know, I mean, talking about India and Pakistan, for example, is just like America and Canada, you know, and yet there's so much of hostility. Even though Hindus and Muslims have lived together for hundreds of years in that part of the region, but now there's animosity. Why do you think that is happening? Do you think religion has a point in that or part to play in that, or do you think that it's just misconceptions?
Well, I think, I mean, they have lived more than hundreds. It's been thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. And I think it's a very recent phenomenon, what's going on recently with the hostilities, because India is has the second most amount, either the second number or second percentage of Muslims in the world, and they're in India. I mean, that's the second nation with the most Muslims. And up until recently, they got along, and it's only a phenomenon that's lasted 100 years, maybe even just 50 years in the past thousands. And I think a lot of that is just political. On the basic level, most people in these two countries feel that way, feel that really their cultures and their religions are very, very similar, and that for them it's not much different. But I think a lot of it comes to just governments not wanting to solve problems and instead focusing attention, diverting attention away from their own internal problems by pointing out an enemy. There's a problem, an internal crisis, so you go create a war, or you go point out an enemy because it diverts attention from the real problem. So I think at heart, most Indians and most Pakistanis don't have a problem with each other and are just as comfortable in each other's religious organizations or with each other as friends. And I've seen so many examples of this throughout my life and throughout my parents' life. I've heard of so many examples that really it's just a political problem which we as common citizens who don't believe that need to come to these positions of power so that we can turn things around.
David, you mentioned a while back about Cordoba in Spain. A living example how Christians, Jews, and Muslims live together, thrive together, still using their technology of water filtration. So what happened?
I mean, part of it was, I mean, even as, you know, Pooja talks example, I mean, other human beings happened. I mean, I was see countless times, whatever religion, whatever country you speak about, I mean, oftentimes because the fallibility of human beings often take over a good thing. And I mean, I look back and some of the first of a class we're all taking together. You know, one of the main examples he talked about was Cordoba in Spain and between the 8th and 15th century, talking about how everything worked, was working together, and different cultures, the Jews, Christians, and Muslims, I mean, work so well together. And then you have the incursion of basically a monarchy that, under the cloak of Christianity, supposedly backed by the church and supposedly backed by the faith, goes in and reconquers the area, reconquista, and basically probably ruins one of the greatest things this world has seen, and that has influenced unknowingly to many people, Western civilization and things of that nature. One of the things that I read about in my own readings, talking about the Arabic translation movement that happened during that time period, where all the Greek philosophy, medical literature, all these other things that really helped inspire what was the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, that really created what is quote-unquote Western civilization, came through Arabic Muslim scholars. That, I mean, that it's astounding to me.
And again, the politics seem to clash against just everyday normal people who were fine and who got along and created a whole renaissance just working together until this political move happened.
Looking at what's going on since 1947 in the Middle East and the conflict between Lebanon and Israel and Palestine, what kind of thoughts go through your mind? Because, it's really interesting, sadly, that, for example, people in Pakistan or the subcontinent would really like to know, how do you take it as a human being? What do you see going on when you see a conflict between Israel and Palestine?
It troubles me, again, on multiple levels, not just as someone of the Jewish faith, but also as an American, as a graduate student, and as just a human being, because I see people who are not reaching out to get to know their neighbors as human beings, and instead are seeing their neighbors through a political lens, or maybe through a religious lens. We need to come to a solution where everyone feels they are able to live in dignity with their neighbor.
Do you think the peaceful solution for Middle East would be, let's share it. Let's give each other the right to exist. Let's give each other the respect. And let's share the land. Do you think that would make a difference?
I think that the land already is holy for more than one people, for more than one religion. And so if there's a way to allow people to share that land and to be able to just feel at peace with the history that's brought them there, and the circumstances in which they live, then yes, I think would like the land to be shared.
Clark, David mentioned about the Cordoba time. But if you look at that time, that is a time we're talking about of entrepreneurship, science, technological advancements, all these different faiths sitting together and thinking about bringing new things to the world and adding all of that. So we were able to do more things together when we were working as one, rather than what's happening right now. What would you comment on that?
Well, I think that is a great point, that working together you can do more than, working individually. And it's interesting that in America there is the opportunity to work together, and there is the opportunity to have a discussion like this, for example, but around a conference table at work. Anybody from any faith can work here at American University, or can work in a corporation, or at a TV station, or at a newspaper, or whatever.
So this is the new Spain, that means.
Right. That would be my point. Yeah, like we're in a new era of technological innovation and growth and change, and it's exciting and it's making a lot of positive things, but it's a tumultuous change, and you can't just switch over to having YouTube and the internet communications and video and instant messages and email without, going over some bumps in how all that becomes part of normal life.